The following is a sponsored program paid for by First Alliance Credit Union. Welcome to Good Money Moves, featuring Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Hello, it's time for Good Money Moves. I'm Andy Brownell. Apologies for the voice. I'm recovering from a bit of a medical crisis that's been tough on the vocal cords. Of course, I'm joined by Jenna Taubel, AVP of Marketing with First Alliance Credit Union. Hi, Jenna.
Hi, Andy. So good to be back recording with you.
Yes, it is. I'm happy to be here. So last time we got together, we had Brandon Horn with us from Greenlight.
Yes.
Is the debit card and money app for kids. I think it's really cool that First Alliance Credit Union members have access to this.
Yeah.
Sounds like just a fantastic app.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is wonderful. If you didn't listen to that episode that we recorded with Brandon, go back and listen to it. If you have kids or grandkids, or you just know people with kids who could benefit from teaching financial literacy to them, it's a great episode.
It's so customizable.
Yes.
So that leads us to what's the topic this week?
Yeah. So in the last couple episodes, we've talked a ton of times about credit cards in a variety of different ways. So I thought it might be actually good to take some time to understand yet one additional type of credit card that we haven't talked about. I don't know if we've ever truly talked about this on Good Money Moves before, but it's business credit cards.
I don't think so.
Yeah, businesses can have credit cards too, believe it or not. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the differences between business and personal cards, talk through some of the really awesome benefits that business credit cards have, some of the drawbacks, right? Pros and cons to everything. And then talk a little bit about how you might go about applying for a business card for your business if that's something that you think would be beneficial.
It sounds like we have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start with what exactly is a business card? And maybe you can explain how it's different from, a regular credit card.
Yes. Yeah. So credit cards, regardless of if they are for people or for a business, function very similarly. So credit cards are given out by credit unions, banks, stores, a myriad of other types of financial institutions will issue credit cards, right? So the important thing to know about credit cards is that regardless of if it's for a business credit card or a personal credit card, the money you're spending with that credit card is basically a small loan from the credit union or the bank that you then pay back with interest each month with a payment. So where the difference comes in between a business credit card and a consumer or a personal credit card is really in how they're designed. So unlike a consumer credit card, which is used for personal purchases, a business credit card helps you keep track of your business expenses, and it helps kind of separate that from your personal expenses. This can really make managing your business finances easier and can provide benefits that are tailored to businesses' needs, such as higher credit limits, expense tracking tools, rewards on business-related purchases like office supplies or travel in some cases. So they function very similarly, but the bells and whistles that come with the card are different with a business credit card versus one that you would use for your personal spending.
Okay. So I guess my next question would be, why would I need a business credit card if I already have, a personal credit card?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So using a business credit card has several advantages over using a personal credit card for your business expenses. So, and really it comes down to that separation of expenses that I mentioned a minute ago. So most business owners realize that personal and business finances should be separate. So one common method for doing this, for keeping this separate, especially when you're just getting started in your business, is to run all of your transactions for your business through your business specific credit card, and then keep your personal expenses in your personal accounts and your personal credit card. That way, every single transaction when you get that statement at the end of the month is related to your business spending, and you won't have to try to separate out between, oh, I spent this for my business, or I spent this for myself, right? It's very clean and clearly separated, which is really important as you grow your business. So the other key, I think, reason people really need to consider a business credit card if they are a small business owner or an entrepreneur just getting started out, wherever you're at in your business journey, is that you need to build business credit. And yes, businesses have credit scores too. So business credit scores are really determined by similar things to your personal credit score, but a couple of different factors play into this as well. So payment history is part of that. Age of your credit history is part of that. The debts you already have are factored into that. So in that case, very similar to personal, where it starts to get a little bit more complicated, as if credit scores weren't complicated enough already, is that with business credit scores, they take into consideration risk of the industry that you're in, the size of your organization, and then there's a variety of other factors that get kind of melded in there as well that are specific to your business. So it is important to really use that business card wisely, just like you would if it was a personal card, right? Pay your bills on time, make more than minimum payments. And by doing this on this business card, you actually start to help build good credit history on a credit report for your business versus yourself. So then this down the road makes it easier for you to get a larger loan for new equipment or a line of credit with more flexibility to it, and have access to those lower interest rates as your business grows. So the other thing to think about why it's important to use a business card versus a personal one for your business is that business cards often also offer rewards and perks that are really tailored to common business related expenses, such as discounts on office supplies or travel rewards for business travel or cash back on those business purchases. So they are very much tailored to business need versus personal need at the end of the day.
Are the business cards hard to get for, I guess, a newer business?
Yeah, I mean, they do take into consideration, we'll talk maybe a little bit more about this later in the show, I think, too, but they do take, if you don't have a lot of business credit history to rely on, they will use some of your personal credit history to help make a decision on whether or not you qualify.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll catch up on that later in the half hour, but I guess maybe you could list out some of the benefits of having this business credit card.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There are really 6 key benefits to having a business credit card for your business. So first, it's easier qualification than a lot of other types of loans. And I think this is going to maybe answer a little bit more of your question as we go through some of these benefits. So if your business doesn't have that strong credit history yet, it's going to be difficult to get approved for a more traditional business loan. However, you can qualify more easily for a business credit card, which then gives you access to that revolving line of credit that can be really helpful when you're just trying to get your business up and running. And like similar to those personal credit scores, that business credit score does play a part in how lenders judge your business eligibility for credit products down the road, such as those larger business loans and whatnot. So for instance, if you just started a photography business and you don't have that lengthy credit history, you might still be able to get a business credit card to help you manage your expenses versus a more formal term loan that maybe has is larger, right? Because that business line of credit or that line of credit that's attached to that credit card is a little bit more easily adjusted than something like a traditional loan would be.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Before we get into some of the other benefits, we should probably take a quick break. We're talking about business credit cards today, the advantages of, and maybe some of the downsides of that option for business owners. It's Good Money Moves. We'll return in a moment right here on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good Money Moves continues in moments with Andy Brownell and Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. We're talking good money moves with Andy Brownell and Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back to Good Money Moves. I'm Andy Brownell. Jenna Taubel with First Alliance Credit Union with me, of course. And the topic today is business credit cards versus personal credit cards, and why, if you have a business, you should probably look into this idea. And once again, I apologize for the raspy voice. Jenna, you listed off one of the advantages, probably directly answering my earlier question, that sometimes it's easier to obtain the business credit card rather than a business loan. Mm-hmm. What are some of the other advantages?
Yeah, I would say another advantage to a business credit card for your business is convenience, which, to be honest, is really a perk for any credit card. It's quick, it's easy to use. That's why people like having them and using them, right? So just kind of imagine, like, let's pretend you run a small bakery business, and instead of carrying around large amounts of cash or writing checks for equipment and supplies, you just use your business credit card for quick and easy transactions, whether you're buying stuff from the local store or you're buying things online. Like, it's very versatile in that way. And so it just can really save you a lot of time and hassle, allowing you to focus more on your work and less on like financial logistics, if you will. It just kind of helps streamline a lot of those spending and expenses. And again, it makes online purchases so much easier. So like if you own an online clothing store, right, and you frequently have to purchase items from various suppliers over the internet, the last thing you want to do is have to mail checks or have to manage a bunch of ACH transactions here and there. So using a business credit card can, again, help streamline some of these transactions and provide also some security and efficiency in the way that you pay for things for your business. And again, this is much simpler than setting up those bank transfers, which is what ACH is. That's what I mean by that for those who aren't familiar with that term, or dealing with those checks for every purchase. It just gets to be a lot of paperwork versus just using that card. So again, kind of that convenience factor.
Sure. And this is the new world we're entering or already in, because, back in the day, if you were a business, you had your regular suppliers who probably gave you their own little monthly line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
That you would just get a bill at the end of the month, and well, that's not the way it works anymore, right?
No, everything's a little more real time.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, that kind of leads a little bit into the next benefit that I wanted to talk about, which is kind of helps you keep your books a little bit easier. Remember, before the break, we talked about that separation of expenses. So, for example, if you have a freelance graphic design business, keeping track of all your expenses can start to get really overwhelming, So with a business credit card, you'll receive that detailed monthly statement, and you can often use online tools that come with that card to manage and categorize those expenses to help you really understand the cost of running your business. So again, it just kind of makes bookkeeping a little bit easier, especially when it's time to file for taxes or maybe conduct some kind of financial audit. Instead of having like stuff everywhere, it's a little bit more streamlined. You can just kind of pull up your statements and go, these are the expenses I've had. And it's really clear and easy to see, what might be recurring expenses or one-time expenses, and start to categorize those a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah, I can't imagine trying to, at the end of the year, go through all these personal credit card statements and remember which ones were business and which ones weren't.
Yeah,
Huge impact on taxes.
Huge impact. And what a hassle, right? What a headache to try to do. But I think another really important thing to consider too is a lot of business credit cards can come with rewards or other incentives that go along with that. So if you have a rewards business card, like let's suppose you run a small like a consulting firm. Like if by using your business card for everyday business expenses, you can then earn rewards like cash back or travel points or discounts on office supplies. And then like, for instance, if that card offers 2% cash back on all purchases, by spending $1,000 in a month, you'd earn back $20, which that adds up over time if you're using that card consistently. And ultimately, it's going to save your business a little bit of money because that cash back can then go towards paying down that balance.
Sure.
So if you have a slow month and you bank that cash back, it can help cover some of that if income's not quite meeting expenses in a month. Because when you're a small business, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have a slow month and you still have to pay the bills. So,
and with these rewards, many times for business, you have these monthly expenses that are recurring, and you're going to need to pay them one way or another. And to get a little reward action on the side doesn't hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you want to run any kind of advertising for your business, a lot of platforms, like Spotify or Meta, they require you to use a credit card. So it's good to have, again, that separation between personal and business, to have a business credit card to run things like that as well.
Absolutely.
And I think, I touched on this one earlier in the episode already, but I think it's just so worth reiterating, is that it's a tool to build your business credit. So if you're a tech startup or a bakery or whatever kind of business you're running or wanting to run, having that good business credit history can really be crucial for securing even future funding and future loans. So by using your business credit card responsibly, right, paying your bills on time, making more than minimum payment, you start to build that positive credit history that you're looking for. And again, starting and building that with that credit card is going to help make it easier to qualify for larger loans or larger lines of credit at those lower interest rates in the future, helping your business ultimately grow.
All right. Build a foundation of good credit, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about business credit cards today. The differences, the advantages of, right here on Good Money Moves. And we'll continue with Jenna Taubel with First Alliance Credit Union when we return from this quick break right here on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good Money Moves continues in moments with Andy Brownell and Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. We're talking Good Money Moves with Andy Brownell and Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
It is Good Money Moves. I'm Andy Brownell with Jenna Taubel, First Alliance Credit Union. And our topic this week is business credit cards. Jenna, you went through a lot of great benefits, especially the bookkeeping one. But I guess this is the time to ask, are there any downsides to using a business credit card?
Yes. Yeah. So there are definitely a lot of benefits to using and having a business credit card. But as with anything in finances and in life, really, there are definitely some potential downsides that you should consider. So one of those is that there is a level of personal liability when it comes to taking out a business credit card or any type of business debt for that matter, because business cards specifically do require a personal guarantee in a lot of cases, meaning that you're personally liable for the debt you accrue for your business. And the level of liability changes based on the structure of your business sometimes, but again, just something to be mindful of and make sure that you ask questions about prior to committing. Also, keep in mind, as with pretty much any credit card, they're going to have higher interest rates than like a term loan. So business credit cards are also going to have higher interest rates than even some personal credit cards. Again, just based on all of the factors we talked about earlier in the show when it comes to having that business credit score that we talked about, right? So just like with personal credit scores, business credit scores vary, and that does and can affect the rate that you pay on that debt. So, and another thing to be mindful of, many business credit cards come with annual fees, which then can add to your business expenses over time. So just be very mindful about the terms and conditions that come with the business credit card that you're signing up for. Just like if you, with a personal card, you need to understand the implications to your monthly, annual, and overall business expenses.
Once again, read the fine print.
Yes.
Okay. So how do I apply for a business credit card, and what do I need in order to get one of these things?
Yes. So to apply for a business credit card, there's really kind of three main steps that you want to think about. So step one, first, you want to really understand how you plan to use it and then start to research your options based on that. So take some time to compare, different business credit cards and find the one that really suits your needs. So, if you plan to do a lot of business travel and that's what you plan to use your card for, you might want to look at a different type of card than if you're just planning to use it to cover some ad spend costs that you're going to run on social media, right? So those are two very different use cases.
Sure.
And there are different business credit cards that might fulfill that need differently. So also, shameless plug, First Alliance Credit Union does offer a business credit card, and we have really awesome rates on those and no annual fees, FYI. So check out ours in your comparison. Step two, though, is really that you're going to need to gather your documentation and then complete that application form. So you'll need your business's legal name, tax ID number, or if you're a sole proprietor, I can't say that word today, sole proprietor, you will need your social security number. You're going to need your income information and then any other details about your business. And depending, again, on the structure and type of business, each financial institution you might apply with might ask for different things from you. So just be ready to provide whatever they ask for. And then, of course, just fill out the application form and providing all the required information. Again, it can be very different from lender to lender. So I'm not going to get into the specifics here and bore everyone with what goes into a business credit card application, but just know that you are going to have to supply some documentation that goes along with that. And once you've submitted that, it's really time, step three, to just kind of wait for your approval and then sign the paperwork once you're approved. So the issuer is going to take time to review your application and all the documentation you provided and to really decide whether or not to approve or deny, just like any other loan. In this process, depending on the lender, depending on their requests and the limits that you're seeking, the type of business you are, all of those things, the process can be as little as a day, and sometimes it can take a few days, again, just depending on some details of your situation. But once your business credit card application is approved, you'll sign on the final paperwork, and then typically you'll receive your card in the mail within like 2 weeks, 7 to 10 business days. It's pretty standard.
Okay. Like you said, we had a lot of ground to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Any final tips?
Yes. I would just say as a final tip, just remember that credit cards are tools regardless of if they are for personal use or for business use. They can be helpful when used responsibly, but they can also lead to debt if you're not managing it well. So, understand what you're getting into, read that fine print, understand the terms, try to pay off your balance in full each month. And of course, if you ever feel overwhelmed and aren't sure which card to choose or how to pay down a balance that maybe got out of control, do not hesitate to seek advice or ask for help from a financial advisor like those of us at First Alliance Credit Union.
Perfect. And as always, great information. But I bet there's a ton more to learn about business credit cards or other good money moves topics. So, Jenna, where do we go to find out more?
Yes, as always, I encourage our listeners to visit our website, firstalliancecu.com. You can subscribe to our blog. We release new financial tips and advice every week. You can listen to past episodes of this show at firstalliancecu.com/podcast or on krocnews.com. You can also subscribe to Good Money Moves on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, and Spotify. And as always, I encourage you to reach out to our team at First Alliance Credit Union. We are here to help you start making good money moves today.
And of course, this is Good Money Moves with First Alliance Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA and an equal housing lender. Jenna, thanks so much.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to talking to you again next week with hopefully a much clearer voice. And so we'll return again with more Good Money Moves right here on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.